We're promising jobs that can turn into careers very easily.
The apartment management industry is such a great option. The main thing is the desire to learn and the desire to serve and the ability and willingness to work on a team.
I feel like in the industry, you are able to, if you put in the work, you're able to grow as much as you want. Don't wait for the opportunity to come to you. You come to the opportunity. Yeah.
Welcome back to another podcast episode, everyone. So a common question I've gotten over the years is from a lot of people asking, how can they start or shift their career into the world of real estate? You know, I've done it. A lot of other people around town, the industry, have done it as well. And the real estate industry is, I think, such a great industry because it often does not require a college degree. It often does not require a ton of experience. And I always have looked forward to real estate as being somewhat blanketed or protected from like technology, especially with all this AI stuff coming out now, which will change everything and it will impact real estate. But there's still so much opportunity in real estate, even with all the tech and AI coming, because we're a people business. We're a real, location focused business. So tons of opportunity on here. So today's podcast, I am going to be focusing on with a panel of 4 people, come talk about how they got their career started in real estate and how they've been able to build careers over the last 5 years to 20 plus years. And we're going to be focusing on property management and maintenance, which is one of the niches within real estate. And so today with me is Christopher Dean with the Apartment Association of Metro Denver. And you are here also launching the ProApartments Job Board that you guys recently did. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So give us a little background on who you and the Apartment Association is.
Yeah. My name is Christopher Dean. I'm the Vice President of Communications and Marketing. The Apartment Association of Metro Denver, we're the 5th largest apartment association in the country. And it's a trade association. We support the owners and the managers and supplier partners of apartment communities across the Denver area. I said we're the 5th largest in the country. We represent over 325 apartment homes in Denver. There's about 427,000 right now in the Metro Denver area. So AAMD represents about 3/4 of those apartment homes, which is awesome.
So Chris, tell us about the plan and the vision with ProApartments.com.
Yeah, ProApartments.com is a new job board that we just launched. We've had this site for a long time. We just relaunched the job board, and the reason we're doing it is because in the last 10 or so years, the construction of apartments has just skyrocketed, as our panel knows, because they're spearheading a lot of it. Their companies are because the population has increased so much. People moving out of their parents' home, wanting a place for themselves, or folks that are moving to Colorado. We've just seen just a huge population increase. So we've been building new construction and new apartment homes. Just to kind of put that in perspective, there's about 427,000 apartment homes in the Metro Denver area. 124,000 of those, about 1/4 of that number, have been developed in the last 10 years. So, and that's crazy. It's just an unbelievable amount. And there's so much more in construction today. So all that being said, all those new communities is providing and opening up brand new job opportunities. And the point of ProApartments.com and the mission of AAMD is to support our membership. And this is one of the things they need support in is bringing and driving new talent to our industry. And so that's the purpose of ProApartments.com, to show that there's a professional side to the apartment industry. And it's a great place to start a job, begin a career, no matter where you are in life.
Great. Now I'll introduce our 3 panelists who all, live in the Denver metro area and all have built careers within the property management and maintenance industry of real estate. So Katie, welcome to the show and tell us who you are and what you do, please.
Thank you. My name's Katie Flood and I'm a regional manager in Denver and I love my job.
That is amazing. BNA, please tell us who you are, what you do.
Hi, I'm Bianay Gonzalez Rodriguez. I've been in the real estate business for about 5 years now. Started as a leasing professional and I worked my way up as an assistant.
And what about you, Bobby?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I have been in the apartment management industry for about 15 years, and I'm currently an area maintenance manager, and I work in South Denver, and I love it. So thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. Katie, I'm going to start with you because you said you love it. You love your job here, which is always a rare thing we hear when people talk about the career. Can you tell us how you got started in this industry?
You bet. I used to think it was unique how I started, but I've learned that this is familiar for other people in the industry. I was moving to Colorado because I wanted to live in Colorado. I went in to pay my rent, and after chatting with the team, they offered me a job. At the time, I needed benefits, and I was working in a restaurant prior to that. So I started out as a resident services consultant. It was a 1,200 unit community, so kind of a rare position. After about a year, I went into leasing. I was a leasing consultant for about a year. And from there, I knew I wanted to be in the industry for a long time. And there was a piece missing. It was the leadership piece. So I took a job as a concierge manager. And to be honest, I didn't love that job. I wasn't great at it. I tried really hard, but I wasn't great. Thankfully, the leasing manager position opened up where I would be able to oversee a team of 5. And thankfully, I had a leader who knew that I could do that probably better than what I was currently doing. And I took that role for about 8 years, and I absolutely loved it. I had a lot of pitfalls. I made some mistakes, but I really learned and grew in that role. Fast forward 8 years, I became the general manager at a community, and again, had some pitfalls along the way, learned a lot of new things. And 5 years later, I became a regional manager. So now I do a lot of things in my role, but what I love the best is I get to support the on-site teams and, make sure they feel supported and have the tools they need to learn and grow, as I had people who led me through it as well.
And so you, kind of got offered the job, and cool, it's a job, and turned into a multi-decade career for you, right?
Yes. It started out as a job, just paying the bills. And I think after 6 months, they had me.
What about it?
I loved it. You get to work with people all day long, people of all different walks of life. This is their home. So it's very personal. You get to meet their dogs and their children and celebrate when they have wins, celebrate, great things in their life, and also kind of be there when they're having hard times. I think for me, what I loved the most is that even if I had just 2-3 minutes with someone, I had a choice every minute whether I could make that a great day for them or not. So I loved that I could play a part of trying to make everyone's day great when they came in to pay their rent or get a dog biscuit, whatever it was. So helping people find their home and getting to know them.
I love that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I loved
Cool.
it.
BNA, I'm going to shift over to you next. Talk to us about how you got started in your career.
Yeah, so I was looking for a job that I could make a career out of. I started as a leasing agent, quickly grew into an assistant. I think what I love about the industry is that you're able to grow into different areas, no matter if it's leasing, assistant, community director. I transitioned into the role of an assistant director, driven by the love of the industry and satisfaction that comes from helping clients find their perfect home. I think that's a great satisfaction. It's an important part of everybody's life. Their home is somewhere where they're going to come, whether they have a good day or a bad day.
And you had, as we were getting ready for the podcast today, you were talking how you were seeking not just a job, but a job that could turn a career, and one that not require you to go down the traditional path of going to college and probably taking out crazy amounts of debt. Talk about kind of your goal there, what your plan was.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I knew it was college was not something I was going to be doing. Unfortunately, not everybody has the funds. So I knew immediately that going into this is something that I wanted to make a career out of. I feel like in the industry, you are able to, if you put in the work, you're able to grow as much as you want.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm so glad that you highlight that, because I think so many people, they end up going to college or say, I'm supposed to go to college, and they don't have a strong direction, and they come out with a degree they don't necessarily use, but $50,000 to $250,000 in debt, which is a lot of money to go pay off.
Right.
So looking back as you got started into your career here, like what's a tip you would give someone else who might be in your shoes? Hey, I don't want to follow the traditional path of going to college, but I want to go out there and find a great career. Like, do you have any general tips you'd give someone who was in your shoes, 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah, I think I would tell them to open up. This career is something that you can, like Katie, she's been in the industry for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you put the dedication, it's something that you can grow into. A lot of people with degrees, are making the same amount of income as you can be making in this industry, which I think is really interesting. But that's just the great thing about this industry, that you're able to.
Yeah, and then they have the debt piece that, like you had mentioned, they have the debt piece that carries over, and often that can last decades, can last until you're 60 years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a very viable option for a lot of people. And I think it's interesting that there is such a hard push just generally for everybody to go to college, because like you said, it's just not a good fit for everybody. And maybe the financial piece is something that, they have to consider. But yes, the apartment management industry is such a great option.
So Bobby, how'd you get started?
Yeah, so mine is, I guess, interesting, maybe a little bit different. I did property management with single family houses in the Midwest. So buying those and renovating them and renting them. And I had two sisters, or I have two sisters that live in Colorado for years and years now. And I would spend time out here with them throughout the year and time back home. And I finally decided I wanted to spend more time with them just generally. So I decided, I'm going to move out there, and then, I'll be there. So I did that. And they actually both happened to work in property management. One was a regional property manager. One was a community manager. And they both said, hey, with sort of the experience and work history that you have, the maintenance side of property management would be a great fit for you. And they encouraged me to try it. And I did. And I've been here, 8 years in Colorado. And I love it. I'm so fortunate that they encouraged me to do that and that I did it. And it's great.
Great. I want to talk kind of like what skills are needed, Bobby, for getting into maintenance, because as I'm in my early 40s now, as I've, watched, colleges become expensive and degrees become, less important. I think a lot of times like trade skills or technical skills or, your hands-on skills is so undervalued, where I see as being able to talk about, hey, people who have those skills can make just as much or sometimes more than a college degree without 4 years invested and debt in there. So like what type of skills are needed for maintenance? Does someone have to come with like a background or some type of technical hands-on degree?
Yeah. So I get that question, and it's a good one because the answer is yes in both. Oftentimes people do start in the industry with a background in plumbing or electrical or HVAC or construction. And of course that's helpful, but it's absolutely not necessary entry level wise as far as maintenance is concerned. I think the main thing, it's not so much hard skills like those skills. The main thing is sort of the desire to learn and the desire to serve and the ability and, willingness to work on a team. And anymore, all of the property management companies are, they're willing to help you along the way and get the certifications that you need. So yeah, no, not really. Entry level wise, it's a great opportunity for everybody, and certifications are absolutely not necessary.
And then, Katie, I want to come back to you because we're talking about, hey, how people got started, some entry skills, and you were there years ago, and now you've transitioned to more of the executive and leadership side. Can you kind of talk about that transition, how you're able to go from, entry level into like executive level within the industry?
So again, when I started in the industry, it was a job for me. And after about 6 months, I realized that this could be an industry that I could really fall in love with. I never knew what my next steps would be. I don't think I had goals of where I wanted to go next. But as positions and opportunities came open, I would always talk with my supervisor and try for the position. As I got into a leadership role as a leasing manager, I really, really found my niche there. And that's when I knew 100% I am in hook, line, sinker. And I was in that role for 8 years and thought that I'd found the place that I was going to work until I retired. And again, I didn't know what I wanted to do next until the opportunity came available. When the position for a general manager opened up, I was really nervous to think if it was something I could do, that I'd be good at it, but I decided to go for it. I had a lot of learning curves there. I took a lot of chances. I relied on a lot of my mentors, and big transition from having a team of 5 to having a team of 32 and finessing that role, if you will. From there, when the regional position came open, and that was more of a corporate position for me. That is where I really, I think, learned to spread my wings again and had to look at my job in a whole different way. So looking through a different lens as a regional manager. And that was a big transition for me as well. But I think just always keeping options open, again, never knowing exactly what was going to be next. I still don't know what's next, but I love going to work every day and I love my team. So,
I mean, this is one of the things I like about just, real estate in general and, careers like real estate and property management is, from my perspective, there's not traditional like ceiling or corporate ladder you have to climb. There's so much opportunity for, hey, if you show up and you have the right attitude and you're proactive. I've seen so many people in real estate, just real estate companies and property management companies, they promote within. It seems to be more like they promote within than like, going from outside to get certain people. So Bobby, I know you have, your career arc is going up and up. Talk about how you made your transitions and you've grown your career over the last years.
Yeah, no. So one piece that Katie mentioned that is interesting is sort of the mentor piece. And I feel like that's one hugely great thing about the industry is that the culture of these companies, they're willing to mentor you and to help you learn and to help you grow as much or to the extent to which you want to grow. Naturally, there's some people that love, say a groundskeeper position. There's people that just love that. They love being out in the sunshine, or they love being out in the elements or getting their steps in, and they get to interact with residents. And that's fine. There's like I said, there's plenty of people that do that and that like that. But yeah, that is one great thing about the culture of the property management companies in this industry is they'll help you grow. Like I said, my story is a little bit different in that I actually did have some industry experience, more or less, when I came to Colorado. So when I started in the property management industry, I started as a supervisor, but of course I see all the people around me and people that work for me, and I watch them. And like you said, it's just the bottom line is just the willingness to go and do the job. And, again, as far as certifications are concerned, absolutely not necessary. You can learn on the job. I think the one sort of thing that you kind of have to have is kind of the ability to be nice and the ability to work on a team, right? I mean, would you two agree?
absolutely.
And actually, Katie, I wanted to ask you, would you prefer, I talk to a lot of people, they actually prefer somebody with no experience because they can I feel like the answer I get is they can kind of mold them to the way that they want. Does that kind of how you?
It does, especially when I'm looking at people who are, maybe applying for a leasing consultant position. Maybe their resumes that they're at a restaurant right now. Perfect.
Yeah.
They've been at a hotel. Perfect.
Customer
service job. Absolutely. That is, we can teach you all you need to know. Someone taught me. But you have to have that excitement and zest for life and working with people.
Yeah, there are so many skills that really translate to it. You were saying, work in a restaurant. I mean, there's a lot of jobs that people get when they turn 16.
Yep.
I mean, my daughter is looking forward to turning 16 just so that she can start working at In-N-Out Burger or whatever it's going to be, Chick-fil-A.
Cool.
And that always almost all those jobs come with some kind of customer service aspect to it. If it's fast food or if it's in a store at the mall, a lot of these entry-level positions that kids get when they turn 16, they're able to work. They're going to be working with people and they're going to learn how to do that. So when they're ready to go into a job that could become a career. I'm not saying fast food is not a career for some folks. It could be. They already have a lot of what is already necessary, according to you guys, in terms of how you hire.
That's another
multitasking.
Multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to carry from almost any work that you could do or life experience, really. It's like you said, Chris. There's a lot that translates into this field of work. And then sort of on the other end, as you're learning and growing, the things that you learn in this industry translate into the rest of your life, not even just professionally, but just, everything. In this industry, no matter what capacity you're working in, you get a lot of human, interaction with different people and you end up learning, and you never fully finish learning it, but it's an opportunity to learn about all of the different personality types. and the different types of people and the different, just everything. So it helps down the road, not just professionally even, but in real life.
And that's what the industry is. It's all about people. You'd think working in apartment industry is all about the building.
Yeah.
But it's really all about the people
Relationships.
that you work with and people that live in your community.
That's true, because
100%.
like you two were saying, it's their home. It's their home. One might think that it's just in an apartment, but you have to remember it's their home. It's their whole world. So, you're an important piece of their life because you're helping them with a huge piece of their life, which is their home. So it's very fun and rewarding.
Binay, can you talk about your career growth? Because I think you're 5 or 6 years in the industry.
Yeah.
Talk about your growth, please.
So again, I started as a leasing agent. My mom is actually the one that pushed me. She was in the industry, and she said, like Chris was saying, why go work fast food if you can make something, start early and make a career out of it? So initially I already knew what I was getting myself into. I started as leasing and quickly moved up to an assistant. And I think that's what's great about this industry is that if you put the dedication and the hard work into it, you're able to grow. I'm currently working on getting certified for certified apartment manager, which is another great opportunity for growth.
What is that exactly?
It's
certified apartment manager?
Yes, certified apartment manager and certification that the National Apartment Association helps you obtain.
Yeah, there are lots of different designations and credentials in maintenance and management and leasing that AAMD offers through the National Apartment Association. That's that's one of them.
Yeah.
And have you gotten your leasing the CALP?
I did not.
You went straight to CAM.
I went straight to CAM, which I think is nice. Sometimes you're able to take kind of like Katie that leap. And if they have faith in you and that you have the right mentorship, I think you're able to do that and grow.
So I don't know all the industry terms on there, but CAM sounds like that's a big step into management and leadership.
Yeah.
So once you have the certification, what's the next step in your career?
I think it would be taking the next step into becoming a community director, community manager. Again, it's a part of growing and taking the next step into the corporate ladder. Another great thing, I think, if it's not something that works for you, you're able to go into marketing, IT, different things within the industry itself, within the real estate business.
Now, when you say community manager, is that you're managing the whole apartment community?
Correct.
Wow. Okay. So that's a
Yeah.
big step up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's exciting. Now, again, since you're in the earlier part of your career and you know it's where to make a career, do you know, like in 10 years, 20 years, like where you want to go, or is that a little too early to tell?
No, absolutely. I want to go hopefully one day be in your position, Katie. But yeah,
Place,
I
Katie.
have all that dedication, and I think I want to go straight there, regional
awesome.
Eventually. Yeah.
And that's sort of the good news, because the property management apartments will always be here.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, no matter sort of what's going on, there'll always be need for housing and apartment housing. And so there'll always be a need for, folks like us and, the folks that we're hoping that to entertain this field of work.
What would you say to someone out there who, they want to get a job, they want to have a career, but they've never thought of property management? What would you say to them to help them say, you know what, come look this a little deeper. Or, hey, there's a really great path on here. I'll start with you, Katie.
So I think, try it. I think it's an amazing path. You can apply for a position. You can apply for a leasing position, or a maintenance assistant, groundskeeper, whatever, role direction you're looking to go in. And it doesn't have to be permanent, right? So try it. Hopefully we think you're going to love it and you're going to want to stay and grow within the industry.
And most do.
But try it, right? Great paying jobs, benefits, and you'll learn something new. And maybe even if it's not property management, it would guide you into maybe other things that you want to do.
Yeah.
I would say try it.
And Bobby, you're saying most end up sticking around.
Sure.
Talk about that.
Well, I think it's like we talked about a little bit earlier. From the outside, you might not see the whole picture. Maybe you live in an apartment and sure, you've interacted with the office folks in the leasing office, or you've had the maintenance folks, stop by to help you with a repair or something. But generally from the outside looking in, you don't really know what goes into it. So there's a lot of, I think that's what we hear a lot is they just really don't know what it all entails.
Right.
And the fact is, it's a little bit different every day. It's not monotonous or the same thing. I mean, there's always, you might even have a flow where you more or less do the same thing every morning and then kind of the same thing in the afternoon. And then you maybe close your days the same way, but it's never the same. It's always sort of a mix. So, I think that's part of it. You can't really see what it's all about until you're in it, which, I've talked with people that were really, really very on the fence. They thought maybe it would be interesting to try maintenance. But they just weren't sure, and one thing that I've told people is, remind people is that there's actually temp agencies where you could sign up.
That's a good idea.
You don't have to sign up. You don't have to sign on with a company. There's temp agencies you can sign on with, and that's neat too, because you get opportunities to see different types of properties all in the span of a few weeks if you want. And then, it's not really a commitment and you can decide then. So I think a temp agency is something people could keep in mind too, if they're really, really on the fence.
I would also say if, get in the industry, get a job, and then, we're so lucky in Denver to have the apartment association with a lot of events where you can really explore. You get to meet other people in the industry. You get to go to the trade shows and different events where you really learn about the industry through other people in the industry and going to those events. I think when I started in the industry, within the first 6 months to a year, I was able to go to some luncheons that specifically focused on leasing.
Sure.
And it was really inspiring. There were guest speakers. So I would say that, first, get a job in the industry, apply, get a job, and then, see if you can go to some of those events. And I think that will really also help give you the big picture of the industry where you don't have, you can see it now.
Yeah, and those events are so great that the Apartment Association of Metro Denver does. And it's interesting because there's there's several different apartment management companies, but at these events, and just being in the industry, it's like one big family. After a while, it doesn't take long, but you realize that you started not knowing anybody. And within less than a year, dozens of people from different companies and from your company that you work for. And that's great because it offers you even more options. So I think once you get your foot in the door, it's just options, is all sorts of options. You can go, you can grow, you can go and grow right? As far as you want, as fast as you want. So yeah, it's really exciting. I totally encourage people to check it out.
You were saying that the industry is like a family. One of the best part of my job is we put on these events, and I go to the events and we see people come together. And I mean, it's just like any conferences that you would go to. You haven't seen someone for a long time. You're like, oh my gosh, and you get to just reconnect with people.
Yeah.
In the years that I've been with the Apartment Association, our events have grown because the industry has grown, obviously, and the number of people that work in the industry has grown. And so seeing these events grow and people really just people love each other.
Yeah.
It's just really, I think that's what's so cool about it.
Yeah, and you get to network.
You
I think
do.
relationships are everything in this industry. It's so big.
Yeah.
You get to meet other people and just grow from there.
Yeah, and everybody's always constantly trying to pull everybody else up. And it's just so supportive, and it's great. It's amazing.
So, B-Day, I want to get your opinion too. What I asked Katie and Bobby on, for people that may have never considered, property management, and after hearing what we're talking about, like, hey, that sounds interesting. Like, what advice would you give them as to like why they should seek it out and what way should they evaluate it?
I think a lot of people also think it's a lot harder to get into this industry, but open up, you never know what this can lead into, whether it's something that you end up staying worth years and making it a career out of. I think embracing the failure, don't be afraid to fail. It's part of life. And I think, as we all know, you know what I mean? But yeah, just start now. Don't wait for the opportunity to come to you. You come to the opportunity and just go from there.
I love that.
Yeah, I haven't met too many people that have regretted getting in the industry. We all hear a lot of stories about how people got into it, but you never hear anyone say, I wish I never would have gotten into it. Right. Alternatively, it's almost always like, I wish I would have done it sooner, or I wish I wouldn't have went to college for 4 years and spent hundreds of that. Now I have student debt and this, and so it's
We've seen a lot of people leave, they'll work in the industry, leave the industry, and then they come right back.
Oh, yeah.
They post it back.
Yeah, it really
the
does.
grass
That's
isn't
a-
greener somewhere else.
Yeah, you think the grass is greener somewhere else.
That's
and
a
they-
boomerang.
they,
Well,
they,
it's
they
like
come
we
right
talked
back.
about- it's like we talked about, though. It's not even just the work or the sense of accomplishment that you get no matter what you're doing in this type of work in this industry, but it's that family piece. It's
People.
it's the people piece,
people.
and it crosses company sort of what do I want to say? Sort of boundaries. And it's just like I said, it's a big family. It's so exciting like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris, I know, a big goal and a big vision you have is with ProApartments.com. We're talking about, all the exciting career potential and different opportunities for people to get into the industry. Can you tell us kind of a little bit more about ProApartments.com, what type of jobs you're posting there, and what people can learn once they go there?
Yeah, we have there are probably hundreds of jobs available, and what we're doing with ProApartments.com is we're trying to bring those jobs all in one place. So they're probably about at this point when we're recording this, we have about 65 jobs are posted right now, and there's about 17 management companies in Denver that represent those 65 or so positions. There are probably dozens or even hundreds more that are available. But it's free for our members to post. And I think that's one of the things that we're really trying to encourage them to do it, is because we want to have a sort of a one-stop shop for people to, first of all, learn about the industry, but also find the opportunities. And there are lots of entry-level positions available, or just a little bit of experience, 2 years, 3 years, and if you're working at a coffee shop or working at a fast food restaurant, that would probably be the 2 to 3 years experience that you might need. So yeah, that's a goal of the website, of the job board, and the tagline, and we've alluded to this a lot in this morning, is jobs built for careers. We've talked about that. Katie talked about how she walked in and she was offered, and she needed a job, was offered a job. She wasn't offered a career. It was like, hey, why don't you join this career right now? You're like, what? You probably would have taken a step back, and we're promising jobs that can turn into careers very easily, as our panelist has shown.
Katie, I always like to ask this question. You've got experience in industry. You've had a very successful, career trajectory within the property management industry. If you were starting over today, rewind 20 years ago, but you're present day, starting out as a newer person in the industry, what advice would you give to your younger self or newer people? Like, hey, this sounds really interesting. What advice would you give you or those other people?
I would say I wish I would have been bolder. Be bold.
Bolder?
Be bold. Be bold. Take a position, and I think I worked really, really hard, and that's something I would always do. But to be bold and say, I think I want to do that, and I can do that. To don't wait for people to come and tell you that you're going to be great at the next step. Be bold and reach for the stars. And I think you're doing that.
Thank you.
I love that. So that's what I would say. Be bold. Take the bull by the horns and go get them.
That's great advice.
Go for it.
Bobby, same question for you. If you could rewind the clock, give advice to your younger self, what would you advise?
I think the mentor-mentee relationship in the industry is huge, invaluable. So I think if I went back, I would want to, as soon as possible, find a mentor or multiple mentors. So I think that's the biggest piece. And then also getting involved with the Apartment Association of Metro Denver. So those two things, and getting involved because of all the great things that they offer, all the training. They're great people over there. And then just the people that you meet because of getting involved in those things and going to those events. So yeah, but I think a mentor is a big one. A mentor, you find a mentor, somebody that you can trust, somebody that's, maybe ahead of you in sort of the core and sort of the path that you're taking. They're kind of a few steps ahead, and, consult them and utilize them, because everybody wants to help in this industry. Like I've said a few times already, everybody wants to help everybody else in any way that they can. So it's like, just find someone, ask them if they'll mentor you, and do it sooner than later.
B-Day, same question to you. You could rewind the clock 5 or 6 years. What advice would you give yourself?
I think just putting myself out there a little bit more.
Mhm.
I am very young and I've done a lot, but I think just networking with others, expanding, my relationship with people, it's definitely a big thing and will take you different paths in the industry, which I think is great.
Yeah, I agree. And I've noticed, like, I got into real estate, not on the property management side, but on the brokerage side about a little less than 10 years ago. So I shifted from a completely different industry. And one of the things I've been able to do is I've been able to kind of grow from an entry-level job into a very successful career. I've noticed many of my peers all around the real estate industry, inside and outside of property management, I've seen so many other similarities where people are able to grow a successful career. In some cases, be part of the leadership team, be an executive, and be a partner. And I rarely see that in other industries. I have, many friends, many peers in other industries, and they don't have the ability to kind of like level up like I've seen people in real estate. And you have a lot of, you're in a very interesting position, Chris, where you have lots of data. You talk to lots of companies, you talk to lots of people. Could you share any data or insights that you've seen within the industry of people, having successful career paths and how that may compare to other industries?
Yeah, one of the events that we do at the Apartment Association every 3 or 4 years called Tributes. It's a big black tie celebratory event that celebrates the professionals in the industry and the industry as a whole and how just the excellence that exists. And I think all three of the panelists here are Tributes finalists to a certain capacity. But what's noticeable is I think, Katie, you were a Tributes finalist, I think, in 2008 as a leasing consultant, and then you were a finalist for a community assistant manager or something like that 3 years later. And so my point is, when we're working on Tributes and we're getting nominations, we see the same people, but they have elevated positions every time. And I think BNA, you were a finalist. It's been about a year since we had Tributes 2023, if you believe it. And you were a finalist in leasing, but now you're assistant manager just a year later.
Assistant.
Okay.
Assistant finalist, best assistant finalist.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of one of the things that we can see. Another more of a funny anecdote is we have an internal database of our membership and the people that work for them, for our members. And there's a job title or position field that it's just hard to keep up with because you don't. When folks get promoted in our industry, they don't always think to call Chris and make sure that their job title is updated on the website.
That's what I did for you, right?
But that LinkedIn has really helped us with that. We're able to keep up with folks a little more.
Yeah, the promotions, I will say, they happen fast. It's a thing. They happen fast, and you're nice, self-driven, sense of urgency. It's just the basics, and you learn as much as you want to learn. And if you have that sort of frame of mind, you can advance as far and fast as you'd like to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think our industry across the board, we work real hard. We also play really hard. So,
Very true.
That's what you're looking for.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
But again, as Chris was saying, very interesting in our industry is that there's no time limit for how fast you can move up. It's just how much you want it, how much you're going to be putting the hard work.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it could be, you could move up several notches on the ladder in a very short period of time if you're really driven.
Yeah.
And it's not just, when I've looked at like investing in business trends, there's always like macro trends going on as well. Like Denver Metro is a growing industry. As you said earlier, with the last 10 years, you've seen so many apartment buildings with the units you said has grown. So like, taking a step back, what I see is, hey, this industry is growing, and not just the industry, but, really Denver is growing more than a lot of other markets as well. And when you step into a career or a job that can lead into a career and there's upward mobility and you're going into a growing industry, it just adds another variable in there that creates more opportunities. A lot of times you're saying, Bobby, more chances, an earlier promotion, earlier opportunity to go out there and grab the bull by the horns and go up there. I think it's like an amazing time because I see so many industries where they are contracting or they are shrinking, either based on, what's going on, or I've had, last year, AI, I've had quite a few friends where their jobs has been no longer needed, which is unfortunate, but that's how things are. Hey, their markets, their industries are starting to shrink, where I don't see that happening within the property management industry.
It's a people-driven industry supporting people. And I'm not going to pretend to know the future to see what AI is going to do to our industry. But today when we're looking, we're looking at an industry where people are working in an industry that are supporting people who are living in an industry, and I think it's very unique.
Chris, can you talk about some of the unique benefits that property management careers may offer people?
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the most unique things is just like if you were to work at a grocery store, you might receive discount on the groceries in the store that you work in when you shop. In the industry, there are rent discounts some of them are offering up to 40, even 50% off their rent if they work in a community, and they wouldn't have to necessarily live at that community, but one that the property management manages if they choose to live elsewhere. But in this environment that we're in right now, where housing costs are just a lot higher than they used to be, that's a big deal. And especially if it's folks who are just graduating college and needing to settle somewhere and don't quite know where they're at. Or if they're just graduated high school and college is not a possibility for them, but they also want to move out of their parents' basement.
Sure.
Getting 40, 50% off your rent to be able to work and get paid. It's not we're talking higher than minimum wage here for the majority of these for these, and with it comes a lot of commissions as well. And like I said, little to no experience necessary, because so much of it is on the job training, and companies will even pay for continuing education. At the Apartment Association, we have lots of continuing education certifications, and it's very rare that the employees are paying out of pocket for these credentials and for these for all this continuing education. So it's something that your company generally will invest in you because they want to see you grow.
And I, probably a couple months ago now, came to the AAMD office here to come meet. I'm used to going to office buildings now where, half the time there's no secretary or receptionist, and there's, one or two people in the giant office suite. Your guys' office suite was bustling that day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was a career room or training room in the center there. It was full. People, I think, are on break in and out. And, we're meeting with union for hey, we got to meet over here. We got this class going on. Like, it was hustling and bustling. And it was, I think, a finance class or some type of class you were teaching there. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, we have lots of training stuff. We have a education center that holds about 95 people, and on any given day we could have a class that is meeting there that's completely full. And then we have a homeroom, is what we call it. The homeroom was hands-on maintenance education, and that'll hold about 35 maintenance professionals with hands-on education. We have one of those going on, and then we have another smaller room where we may have meetings. I think one of the most fun, sometimes stressful, but one of the most fun things that we have is when, like you're talking about, Chris, when there's something going on in every room and there are people passing by, and I go out to grab some coffee from the kitchen. I run into folks I haven't seen in a while or someone I don't know and strike up a conversation. People just our office is just for our members, and it's really neat. During COVID, when everything was empty, it was actually really sad. We'd be in the office with our masks on, and we'd have to put a mask on to go get a cup of coffee or use a restroom and run into our colleagues, and we'd be like, we want people back. We have such a big office. We want education back, and we want events back.
Yeah,
I want to ask. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying another just by the way, is the property management companies generally pay for your certs, your continued education, and kind of not only do they pay for that, but you get paid while you're taking that
oh, sure,
course,
yeah,
so
right,
to speak. So it's sort of just benefit after benefit. So there's a lot there.
Yeah, panelists, can you talk about some other either some of the unique benefits that you've enjoyed in this career or just ones that you've seen? Because I mean, like I said, having a rent discount, not many careers offer that, any unique benefits you guys have really enjoyed over the years?
Sometimes through the the housing benefit was huge for me also when I got started, because I didn't realize that existed at the time. But also with some of the vendors getting discounts on appliances, or if there's anything, you need, or, carpet replacements, things like that. I lived on site for about 9 years. And then when I moved off site, I was able to use some of those vendor rebates, which was really, really nice.
No, phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. One other thing I'll say, which kind of takes people out of Denver, but another thing is that there are apartment communities all over the country, and
Worldwide.
many management companies are across the country. So, if you love the company you're working with, or, you can always look to transfer your position
That's a
too.
good
And I
point.
think that's not always the case, so there's lots of opportunity for that as well.
And those national certifications will follow you as well if
Yes.
if your life takes a change that takes you out of Colorado, even if your management company doesn't exist in the state that you're moving to, that credential carries through the entire country.
Yeah. I've actually, within the company, I transferred from another state into Colorado, and they had an apartment ready for me, rent free, which was amazing. I'm very young, one income. It's hard.
Rent free?
Rent free.
100% discount.
100%.
That's
I'm not sure that's the norm. We're not promising anyone that, but goodness, it was
fantastic. 4 years ago, so it's been a while. But even then, now if you get that discount, you're able to save for future housing, future home ownership. I'm blessed to be a homeowner at my young age because of this industry. Because
Congratulations.
Thank you, because I made a career out of it, and I think that's the important thing, that you're able to make a career out of it.
Can you talk a little more about that? Because that is, you're a young lady. That's so impressive. Talk more about that.
Yeah. So it was a goal I had for 2023. I had a lease-up property, and the lease-up property offered a big bonus if we were to occupy it at a certain percentage. So that was a big opportunity for me. Again, commission, it comes with the job. So I was able to secure big commission, and I was able to secure a home. So yeah. Again, another opportunity that comes with the industry.
Yeah, that is like, congratulations. That is phenomenal. So
it brings me to a point.
Okay,
You're talking about benefits. Well,
Yeah,
it makes
it's
me think,
benefit.
because this is another thing that we hear a lot from the maintenance side of things, is that these things that you learn and you're going to learn over the course of time, you'll carry those on the rest of your life. Eventually, you will have a home of your own, and eventually your plumbing will be clogged, or your garbage disposal will die and need to be replaced, or your faucet needs to be, or your door lock won't lock anymore. And so these things carry on. So I see that as a pretty
benefit.
definitely as a pretty
100%.
cool benefit.
Yes.
So and the hard skills, and of course, like the soft skills, just learning people and how to interact and sort of maybe de-escalate hard situations, I guess you could say. So that's a benefit. These things that carry on that you take with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of practical skills.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been a phenomenal discussion on just the property management industry, the upside, a lot of the great benefits getting in there. Any final thoughts or items that you guys want to share before we wrap this up?
Yep, I would just say, if it sounds interesting at all, apply. Apply today. Find a position that looks fun and a location that looks great.
Okay.
Networking opens doors to a lot of things.
Yes.
So I think that's important.
Yeah, and like I said, I would say 99% of the people that I've talked to about the subject that have taken work in this industry have not only not regretted it, but have been just, excited, just thrilled that they, move forward with entertaining it, and now they're in a spot and life's good. So yeah, I definitely encourage people to look into it. A lot of opportunity.
Wonderful. So, one of the things that I've noticed, a long time, we're talking about, people not going down the college trajectory, but a lot more either starting a job or apprenticeship has become a lot more popular.
Yeah.
What type of apprenticeship opportunities are there in the property management industry, Chris?
Yeah, that's a great question. About 7 or 8 years ago, we started a maintenance apprenticeship program. We call it MAP, and it's designed for folks that may not have a career path. Maybe they're looking for a change in careers, but they're really good at maintenance related stuff. Maybe they're good at fixing their car or their AC unit in their home, and they just need a sort of a new path. And we bring them in, and it's a program. It's a 8-week program where Monday through Thursday they're actually working on a property being trained in different areas and different avenues of property maintenance. And then on Friday, there's a formal class that they're at the apartment association office in our hands-on maintenance education room, learning a little bit more in a classroom environment. And that's an 8-week program. And by the time they graduate, they have already worked on a property for 8 weeks, and many times the property would just hire them as a maintenance technician. Bobby, you've worked with someone who's gone through this program, right?
Yeah, I was shaking my head. I was thinking, I won't say his name, but I'm thinking of somebody that I actually know personally now. But maybe 4 years ago, he started in the MAP program, and once he got through that program, which was 6 or 8 weeks, he said, he was hired on by the property that he was working at. And he was hired on as an entry-level maintenance technician, and I mean, in short order, was promoted to a maintenance tech, then a lead maintenance tech, an assistant supervisor, and then a supervisor. And I believe right now he's interviewing for a senior service supervisor, a senior maintenance supervisor position. So, and that's like 3 or 4 or 5 promotions and as many years.
Yeah.
So, some exciting stuff coming out of the MAP program for
It's
sure.
just another way that people find working in the industry is through an apprenticeship program.
I think that's a phenomenal story,
Yeah.
and I love it because we all know college. Hey, college is great, but not everyone has to go there have a successful career. And I think the apprenticeship style program is going to be powerful. I mean, same thing. He went through the 8-week MAP program or MAP, and then within 4 years had 4 or 5 promotions versus same time he'd be just graduating college
With that.
if he was in there with that out there looking to probably get a job and an entry-level type income. And in parallel he's probably quite a few steps ahead from peers that chose an alternative path.
Yeah, and like you said, he'd be graduating with that, but then also maybe not necessarily even knowing what he wants to do or what he would like to do or what he would be good at doing. So yeah, the MAP program has been invaluable at the Apartment Association.
Well, this has been a great discussion, everyone. I appreciate everyone taking time out of busy days and getting everyone's schedule coordinated. And if you guys want more information, we'll link out to emails and social profiles for our panelists. You can ever connect to them one-on-one to get more details. And of course, go to ProApartments.com and go create a free account, view the jobs, get on the email list, start exploring the opportunities on there. We'll be doing more education around the property management and maintenance industry with AAMD. So stay tuned for more of that. Alan, with this, I'm about 20 years outside of college with a financial planning degree, which I've never used. I did, in my junior year, I was 50-50 of, dropping out of college. I'm not using it, but I stayed in there because I wanted to. But I love what you guys are doing here with the AAMD. I appreciate you guys sharing your stories. I think more people need to know about the opportunities within the property management and maintenance niche. And also that there's so many great ways to go out there and achieve fulfilling careers, both emotionally and financially, that don't require a college degree. Mm-hmm. So Chris, thank you. Katie, thank you. Bina, thank you. Bobby, thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
yeah.
Thank you for having us.